Today we're going to find trigonometric values, and we're going to start by doing that on the unit circle. My goal is that by the end of this, it can all be done just within our head. Okay, so a unit circle. It's a unit circle because the radius is 1 unit. This direction to the right, that is some x value. Going up is some y value, which means this point right here is xy. So the sine of this angle, so we'll call this right here theta, sine of theta, and sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which means it is y over 1. So the sine is the y value. So on a unit circle, sine will always be the y value. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, that's x over 1. So cosine will always be the x value. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so that is y over x. So on a unit circle, tangent will always be the y value over the x value. And then we get into the reciprocals of each of these. The reciprocal of sine is cosecant, so cosecant theta is hypotenuse over opposite, 1 over y. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent, 1 over x, the reciprocal of cosine. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So instead of y over x, it would be x over y. Okay? So these three right here, sine, cosine, and tangent, we need to be able to remember. And then we need to be able to remember which of these, or which these are reciprocals of. Cosecant and sine, secant, cosine, cotangent, and tangent. Something that helps me to remember is that whatever I pair these up with, these sine, cosine, and tangent, there has to be one co and one that's not a co. Sine, cosecant. That one's the co. Cosine, secant. We've got a co. Tangent, cotangent. We've got a co. Tangent and cotangent are nice and easy. People don't mix those up very often, thinking cotangent is reciprocal of something else. But sine and cosine, each pair has to have a co in it. Okay? So, in a unit circle, okay, so if this is 1, 2, and root 3, because it's a 60-degree angle, okay, so that's just a 30, 60, 90 triangle, 1, 2, and root 3. If we want to make this an actual unit circle, we have to make the radius 1. And right now it's a 2-unit circle. If we divide everything by 2, now we've got an actual unit circle, which means at 60 degrees, our x is 1 over 2, and our y is root 3 over 2. We should be able to go around the entire unit circle using 30, 60, 90s or 45, 45, 90s and find every single one of these x and y values. But we're going to learn a positional system that's just going to help us remember. Okay, so x values are to the left and right. If I'm right here, my x value is 0. If I go out to the first position, it's 1 over 2. If I go out to the second position, so this was 60 degrees, this one is 45 degrees, and that's the second position to the right, that is root 2 over 2. And this would be 30 degrees, and that is the third position to the right, that is root 3 over 2. And if I go all the way out to the edge of this unit circle, well, it's a unit circle, so the radius is 1. That would be 1 unit out. To the left, it's the same way. If I go 1 out to the left, now it's negative 1 over 2. 2 positions out to the left is negative root 2 over 2. 3 positions to the left is negative root 3 over 2. And all the way out to the left is negative 1. Okay? Vertically, it's the same counting system. If I'm counting up, it's 1 over 2. To the second position is root 2 over 2. To the third position is root 3 over 2. To the fourth position is 1. Counting down to the first position, 1 over 2. Then root 2 over 2. Then root 3 over 2. Then 1. Only difference is down here, they're going down. So they're all negative. Okay? Now, I'm going to erase the number of degrees, and I'm going to put in radian values. We need to be able to place radian values on all of these around the unit circle. Okay? There's a couple different counting systems that will help us with that. So if we go to the quarter points, we can count by fourths. So that's 1/4. That's really pi over 4. 2/4. So that's 2 pi over 4, which simplifies to pi over 2. 3/4. 4/4, which is just 1 pi. 5/4. 6/4, which simplifies to 3/2. 7/4. And 8/4, which is 2 pi. So 0 and 2 pi are coterminal. The rest of these we'll count by sixths. 1/6. 2/6, which is 1/3. 3/6, which is 1/2 pi. 4/6, which is 2/3. 5/6. 6/6, which is 1 pi. 7/6. 8/6, which simplifies to 4/3. 9/6, which is 3/2. 10/6, which is 5/3. 11/6, which is, oh, it's 11/6, it doesn't simplify. 12/6, which is 2. Okay, so we're going to need to be able to count by fourths and by sixths around this unit circle, and we're going to need to be able to count x and y values, left, right, up, and down. Okay, so we want to find the exact value of all these sine, cosine, tangent, and their reciprocals. I want you to be able to do this within your head only. I'm going to have to draw some pictures on here just because I can't show you what I'm thinking. Sine of 0, 0 degrees, is right here. And sine is the y value. This is not up or down at all. The y value is 0. Cosine 0. 0 is right there. And for cosine, we're counting the x value. It is all the way out. That is 1 unit because it is a unit circle. Okay. Cosine, 11 pi. So cosine is the x value. 11 pi. So when we were looking at the unit circle, when we went halfway around, that was 1 pi. And then this is 2 pi, getting all the way around. 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 6 pi, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pi ends up right here. So we're looking for the x value there. That is 1 unit to the left. Pi over 2. Pi over 2 is a quarter of the way around. So if you want to think of that in fourths, then it's 2 pi over 4. So it's 2/4. 1/4, 2/4. It's right there. And cosine is the x value. That is not at all to the left or right. The x value is 0. Same spot, pi over 2. The y value, sine is a y value. That is 1 unit up. The y value is 1. 3 pi over 2. We can think of that in terms of fourths. That is 6 pi over 4. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, and this is our spot. Sine is the y value. It is 1 unit down. -1 is the value of sine at 3 pi over 2. Okay, now 4 pi over 3. If we want that in terms of sixths, 4 over 3 is 8 over 6. So it's 8 pi over 6. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6, 7/6, 8/6. Right there. Okay, so we're not on one of these 4 points anymore. So sine is the y value, and we've got to think how many positions down is that. Okay, there is a little quarter point right in here, so that's 1, 2, 3. That is the third position down. Third position is root 3 over 2. But it's down, so it is negative. Okay, so 4 pi over 3, we already know, is right here. It's the same as this one, except now we're doing cosine, so it's the x value. It is 1 position to the left. 1 position out is 1 over 2. To the left is negative. And then tangent at that same spot. So the y value is negative root 3 over 2. The x value is negative 1 over 2. Tangent is y over x. So that y value, negative root 3 over 2, because it's in the third position down. And the x value, it's in the first position left, negative 1 over 2. Negative over negative is positive. If I multiply this outer loop, I get a numerator of 2 root 3, and the inner loop gives me a denominator of 2. So tangent there is root 3. Sine at pi over 6. Pi over 6 is right here. Sine is a y value. That is the first position up. 1 over 2. Cosine at 5 pi over 6. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. Cosine is the x value. There's a quarter point right in here also. That is the first, second, third position to the left. Third position is root 3 over 2. It's to the left, so it is negative. (11 pi over 6). Now that's just one short of 12 pi over 6. And 12 over 6 is 2. That would get me all the way around. So it's one spot short of going all the way around. Tangent is y over x. This is the first position down, so the y value is negative 1 over 2. It's the third position to the right, so I've got these two spots along the way. So it's the third position right, which is root 3 over 2. Okay, so when I do my loops, I'm going to have a 2 in the top and the bottom. If these two denominators are the same, they're just going to cancel each other out. So it's negative 1 over root 3. But we do not leave irrational numbers in a denominator. So I have to multiply numerator and denominator by root 3. So I'm going to get negative 1 root 3 over 3. So the goal is that you'll be able to start visualizing these places on the unit circle in your head and not have to draw these pictures. But again, I can't really translate what's in my head through this video without actually drawing the picture. So I want you to try to be able to do these without drawing pictures. So we've got cosine 1/4. There's 1/4. Pi over 4. So my x value, I've got 1/6 and 2/6 here. So that would be the second position to the right, which is root 2 over 2. Five pi over 4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. Sine is the y value. There's spots here and here, 1 for a 1/6. That is the second position down from here. First, second position down. So second position is root 2 over 2, and since it is down, it is negative. Three pi over 4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Tangent is y over x. That is the second position up, root 2 over 2. It is also the second position to the left, so the x value is root 2 over 2, except that it's to the left, so it is negative. Root 2 over 2 over root 2 over 2 is 1. Positive over negative is negative. Tangent at pi. Halfway around a unit circle is pi. So it's the y value over the x value. The y value, this is not up at all. The y value is 0. It is all the way to the left. That is negative 1. 0 over negative 1 is 0. Sine at 2 pi. 2 pi is all the way around the unit circle. Sine is the y value. This is not up or down at all. The y value is 0. Cosecant at pi over 2. Pi over 2 is right here. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, so that means it's 1 over the y value. So it's 1 over, and it's all the way at the top. That y value is 1. 1 over 1 is 1. Cosine at 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 is the same as 6 pi over 4. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4. It's right there. Cosine is the x value. This is not left or right at all. The x value is 0. Secant at that same spot. Secant is reciprocal of cosine. So that would be 1 over x. And this is not left or right at all, so the x value is 0. 1 over 0, this one is undefined. And cotangent at that same spot. Reciprocal of tangent would be x over y. The x value, left or right, it is 0. The y value, it's all the way at the bottom, negative 1. 0 divided by negative 1 is 0. Again, I want you to be able to do these without drawing any of these pictures, just picturing these things, these locations in your head.